As a chef and a nutritionist, I often get asked, why do you think our nation is so sick? My answer, what do we do every day? We eat food. I live with illness and have used food to help me get well and feel better. My goal here is to teach you to do the same. Eating healthfully can be simple, delicious, and nutritious. So chew on this.
Today's episode is Loco for local foods. And I'm in Montauk, my hometown, and we're at the Coast Guard docks, and I'm going to visit my friend Travis Kelly, a local fisherman. So let's see what Trav caught today. Hey Trav, thanks for having me on your boat today.
Of course, Steph. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks. So what'd you catch?
Well, today was fluke fishing, so that's what we have for dinner tonight, some fluke.
Awesome. So you go out solo, right?
Solo normally. You know, sometimes friends will come, but it tends to be a little bit too much work for them, so I usually burn them out after a trip or two. So.
Why? How many fish are you catching in a day?
Well, it depends on the day. It depends on what I'm fishing for. You know, the limit on fluke's 140 pounds, so we'll do 140 pounds of them, and then the scupp's like 1,000 pounds.
The what?
Porgies. Scup
porgies.
Is 1,000 pounds, which is not really attainable rod and reel fishing. But I usually do, you know, anywhere between 200 and 500 pounds of them, and then some striped bass thrown in, a few bluefish, all that type of stuff, you know?
Wow.
Mixed bag of everything.
And that's all local to Montauk?
All local to Montauk. They're all summer fish, but...
How far off Montauk do you go, usually? The point?
Yeah, the point and beyond, you know, I mean, it depends on, you know, like now everything's pretty close, so I'm probably within 3 miles, you know, out to sometimes at night, you know, a little bit further, but, you know, pretty much within 3 miles.
Wow. And are there a lot of other boats around you, or are you just kind of out there on your own? Because you fish alone, so, I mean...
Usually, you know, all the commercial guys sort of stay away from each other to not compete, you know, with each other. You know, sometimes you have the sport fishermen right up on top of you and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's all.
So how do you differ from a boat that trails a net or a boat that has multiple fishermen on it? How do you differ? Well,
I differ because everything I do is with a rod and reel, and a boat dragging a net is dragging a net through the ocean. So everything that I catch is caught, you know, 1-2 fish at a time.
And what, you know, there's so much going on these days about fish that's endangered and, you know, fish with PCBs and mercury, and I'm curious what your take is on that because you're out there every day. So I'm really interested to know what your take as a fisherman is in Montauk, which, God, we supply so many different areas, don't we?
We do, but, you know, the mercury, I don't think any of the inshore fish have the mercury issue. I think the deep water offshore fish are more susceptible to mercury.
Like the tuna, the swordfish,
some tilefish and stuff like that.
Right.
And even that, I'm sure, is way better for you than eating a McDonald's cheeseburger or something like that. I mean,
Thank you for that.
As you know, I would imagine if somebody chose to eat tuna, swordfish, or tile every time over eating McDonald's, they'd be a much healthier person. And PCBs, I think, was really an issue 10, 15, 20 years ago. With the striped bass going up to Hudson and GE and stuff like that. And I think that's completely a non-issue now, and the fish out here are as clean as they possibly could be.
So when you catch your fish, where do you sell them, and who do you give them to? I know you sometimes come to my house and have dinner.
Yeah. 90% of my fish probably goes back into New York City and then, you know, sort of filters out from there. It used to be Fulton Fish Market, which I guess they've now moved up to the Bronx, up in Hunts Point or something.
Right.
But then, you know, a lot of it goes to Duryea's, goes to Gosman's, and, you know, they'll sell it to the local restaurants and, you know, push it from there. But a lot of it, you know, goes into the city and then they distribute it from there.
So it's going into the city and then it's actually coming back out here sometimes.
I wouldn't doubt that a decent amount of it does end up, you know, back, not that it would come back to Montauk, but I'm sure it ends up, you know, back on the East End, you know, between here and Hampton Bays and stuff.
Oh, interesting. I know you saved one fish for me.
I did.
And what is it?
A fluke.
A fluke.
Yeah.
And you shipped all the other out?
All the other stuff's gone.
So before you show me this fish, though, I want to ask you something.
Yeah.
How did you get into fishing? I mean, I know you're married to Amy Duryea.
Yeah.
So you have the Duryea influence.
Yeah.
But you spent a lot of time fishing too as a kid, didn't you?
Well, my father, growing up, was a commercial lobsterman, and so I grew up on the boat. You know, they had me on the boat probably when I was like 5 years old, banding lobsters and
Wow.
baiting up and all that type of stuff. And then I got out of it. You know, went to college, did real estate, ran a real estate office for a while, and then Prudential came in and bought us out. And you know, I always wanted to go back to fishing because it's where my heart always was, and you know, it's sort of you're the master of your own day every single day. You know,
Right.
it's direct cause and effect. The harder I work, the more money I make. You know, and real estate just wasn't like that.
Well,
you know,
and you grew up in Montauk, so I mean, even like looking at our children, because you've got Christian and I've got two boys. I mean, you have Ava, but she's very little.
Yeah.
The kids just are outside all the time. They're around the water. You know, getting clams, getting Achilles. You know, all the fish. They're just obsessed.
Absolutely. I grew up obsessed with catching all that stuff, fishing off the docks. You know, like when my dad was waiting to get bait, I'd be down fishing off the docks all the time, catching crabs, catching snappers. I think fishing is where my heart always was.
Right.
And, you know, when it finally was time to go and do it, you know, I was as happy as I could possibly be. And, you know, I mean, it's a hard living. It's a lot of hard work, but, you know, it's good, clean, nice living. So I
And
love
it's
it.
an honest living.
It's an honest living. I enjoy it.
Obviously, pay mind to the environment, and you know a lot about all the rules and regulations around fishing.
Well, we are strictly controlled. Our rules and regulations are forced down our throats constantly, so we don't have anything really to say about that. And as far as keeping everything clean, you know, we all make our money off the water, so we absolutely keep everything clean and, you know, look out for the ocean because that's our livelihood.
So it doesn't get much better than this. We are with Travis on his boat at the docks in Montauk, and he's going to show us his fluke.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go back to my house and we're going to cook up some dinner.
All right. I can't wait.
All right, so let's see. You know, I have this thing that I have a really hard time seeing the head of a fish. I can eat fish, but when I see its eyes, I have a hard time eating it.
Well, so we'll do the underside first.
Okay,
How about that?
perfect. Okay, so I notice you've got a stab right here.
Yeah.
Why?
What it does is it breaks the backbone of the fish here and here.
Okay.
It's called bleeding them. It kills them basically instantly while they're still alive, and you throw it right into slush ice, which is ice with salt water in it, so it brings their body temperature down instantly and keeps them really, really cold.
Right.
For the sushi market, because when you kill them like this, I guess what happens is the sushi chefs can cut it real, real thin.
Oh, okay.
So that's all for the sushi chefs.
I don't eat raw fish because I really don't like anything raw.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to try it as you cut it, but technically you can just
100%. You could eat it right after cutting it.
Great. Okay, so let's see.
Okay.
So you're kind of cutting along the neck area and then down. You don't fillet fish that often, you said earlier.
No, because I like to get rid of my fish whole and not have to deal with it. You know, the guys that fillet fish would do this in about 4 seconds. But,
I feel bad for the fish.
Well,
and then I'm going to eat it later. How terrible is that?
I don't know. I don't think it's too terrible. I don't think you should feel too bad for the fish.
Yeah, well, it's living off of the sea. And I mean, living in Montauk, growing up in Montauk, you've lived off of the sea your whole life.
Absolutely.
And I mean, so have I, to some extent.
Yeah, I think it's our best local product, you know? I mean, it's all natural, organic product. It's caught fish is organic just by its nature.
Wow, look at that. That is gorgeous.
Yes.
So then what I do is when I get home with fish, whether, you know, I get it from you or I buy it somewhere, I always clean it with lemon and salt. Because with all due respect to Trav, he's cutting the fish on top of this plastic container, and we just never know where our fish is being prepared or handled or who's handling it. And so I always like to make sure that it's super clean, and a natural cleanser is lemon, also salt, so I use both. So we'll do that when we get home. Now, you don't get much more local than this. This is amazing. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Well, you're welcome, Steph.
And that was a great lesson, actually, in filleting fish, because I don't like to do it. And now we have some fresh local fluke that we're going to take back to my house, and we're going to cook up some miso grilled fluke.
Can't wait.
And some fresh herb pesto from the Montauk Community Garden with some zucchini, and we're going to grill the zucchini. And we have some great local wines from Amagansett Wines and Spirits. And now you can go back to your house and shower because you stink.
Thank you.
After a full day of fishing.
Yes, thank you.
And we're going to go over to the Montauk Community Garden. So let's go. I just got off the boat with Trav, and I'm here at the Montauk Community Garden to get some vegetables for dinner. We're going to go into the garden and meet Greg Donahue, the brainchild behind this garden. Greg, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. Temperature's perfect right about now.
So I know. It feels really hot, huh? So what I want to know is what do you do with all of this gorgeous produce?
Well, it's all organic, number one, and it's all volunteer spirit. That's what makes the thing go. You know, I might be the engine, but without all the volunteers, this thing would be a hard thing to pull off. So it's a combination of flowers and vegetable and herbs, and we just grow. We have fun growing, and we just put it on the table and sell it. And
you mentioned the food pantry. So what is the involvement with the food pantry?
Well, Father Mike, who is the pastor here, the priest here, it's church property, and so he loved the idea that we were going to do something that was going to be for the community, because like you said, your son, we're educational based, there's no doubt about it. I love to turn kids on to, you know, you go down the supermarket, you know, plastic into the cart, they got to know where the food comes from.
They do need to know where the food comes from.
And so when they learn that young, it's very important. You like potato chips? Well, come, let me dig up some of these.
So you know where they come from.
Right, exactly.
It's such a great centerpiece for the town of Montauk, too, with all the different people who are coming in and out of the town during the summer. It just brings them to something very important. And I was just with Travis Kelly on his boat.
Okay.
He caught a fluke, and we want to cook some vegetables to go with the fluke.
Okay, so let's go harvest.
Let's go harvest. Okay. Perfect.
Now, you're cooking fish tonight, so what are you going to flavor fish with?
Well, I'm doing a miso grilled fluke.
Okay.
And I thought that I would do a multi-herbed pesto to coat zucchini with and grill some zucchini.
So then let's take some basil right off the bat.
Ooh, look at that.
And you're just going to want to take a sprig from each plant, so that when I do this, the idea is to cut and come again. So when I make a row of kale, you don't just cut the plant of kale, you take 1 or 2 sprigs from each thing and they grow back, so that we have some time to harvest over a long period of time.
Now that though is something that you would do in a garden versus, I would imagine, a farm where you're pulling the full head, right?
Yeah. For example, right now is the time to harvest garlic. So you're going to get some garlic out of our garden. It's small. We've given all the big stuff away.
Right. Look at that. Wow, look at this. This is garlic from the ground.
We planted that last November.
Wow.
And traditionally 4th of July is about the time when it peaks. This is a little small, but it won't disappoint, I guarantee you.
Wow, look at that. Oh, we're gonna knock Travis's socks off if he's wearing socks.
So I'm gonna give you some potatoes for your meal, okay?
And some zucchini.
We'll go around and
let's go around.
Let's go to the back of the garden.
Okay, great.
How are you, Cheryl? You gotta look. We did a good job at harvesting the other day. You just gotta look and kind of
see where they are.
Vegetable. For example.
Oh, there's some yellow squash down here. Wow.
Perfect timing.
With the flower. Look at all of this stuff. How beautiful. Wow, look at that. And this one here.
And the one thing distinctive about fresh potatoes, when you buy potatoes, they've been hanging around the storehouse, and These things, you eat them tonight, you will know that.
So those are the spring onions.
Stuttgarten.
Wow. Wow, look at that. Oh my God, red onion. You're giving us so much. Wow, this is perfect. Greg, thank you so much.
Yeah, so it's a little lesson about what community is all about. Montauk is really big on community.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And then that's what I
are.
learned about this, because so many people come in and help, and some people that never got dirt under their fingernails. My daughter, number one. Look, Dad, I'm in the garden, you know.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, she gardens for me in my professional career. And the first year, Aoife Ford, who just got some of the scholarships, she's going to college next year. She planted a row of onions. She was never in the garden before. And I had her at the end of the year harvest the onions.
Right.
And she said, did I put that row in? The row went like this, it went like this. And I said, you know, in this garden, imperfection is perfection. So,
Greg, I want to thank you so much for this absolutely gorgeous basket of vegetables and onions and herbs.
enjoy the flavor.
It's really, I mean, I know how much hard work goes into this, and I want people to know about this garden, because what has gone on here is just unbelievable, what continues to go on. When are you guys open so people can come and buy?
We're open every Saturday. Okay, every Saturday morning. I'm usually here by 9 o'clock or a little bit before. I stay till 1 or 2. So during that time frame, our table will be full of stuff, and people can come by and buy, and that's the time. And then also on Wednesdays from 9 to 12, we will have some. I may not be here, but we'll have somebody here selling vegetables as well. So it's a Wednesday 9 to 12, Saturday 9 to 12, and I just would encourage anyone to come down and take part in this and help us out and help the food pantry as well.
It's a real learning experience for children, so parents, grandparents, bring the kids down here and come and work with some amazing people, touch some amazing food, and I just want to thank you. This is
my pleasure.
Really just an honor to be here and talking to you about this and being in the space
as well.
And now we're going to go home and we're going to touch all this food with our hands, and we're going to cook and eat everything that we learned about today. So here we are at my house. I've got a great basket filled with vegetables from the Montauk Community Garden, and I'm going to give them a clean. My husband is really, really meticulous. These have a ton of dirt on them, and I don't want to get the dirt all in the house. So I have a hose handy, and I'm going to clean some of the onions and the potatoes and get ready for when Travis comes. So I want to focus on zucchini, and this is the perfect zucchini. If we remember what Greg said, if they get too large, they lose some of their really good flavor. Perfect size. Got a bunch of them here. Giving them all a good rinse. Okay. Some yellow squash. Look how beautiful this is. Perfect color. Just a perfect color. A lot of times you'll find this in the grocery store and it'll have a lot of bruises on it, but this is just beautiful. Perfect. Okay, and we've got more zucchini here. Now we'll get to some of the red potatoes. Hey, Trav.
Hey, Steph. Yeah, don't spray it. Thank you, though.
You clean up well.
Well, thank you. This looks delicious. You've got a beautiful assortment of vegetables.
Yeah, Greg Donahue from the Montauk Garden gave this to us. Pretty amazing. You've got the fish.
I've got the fish.
I've got the vegetables. Now it's time to get in the kitchen.
All right, let's do it.
Here we are in my little yellow galley kitchen that I hope someday will turn into a bigger and better kitchen. Trav, you're here with me. We've got some wine.
Looks good.
So Michael from Amagansett Wines and Spirits gave us 4 bottles of local wine. Can I pour you a glass?
Please.
I would love to. This is the Pominock.
All right, looks good.
So I'm sure after a day of fishing,
Yeah.
ooh.
Perfect.
You like that, huh?
Yes, I do. Let me taste it.
Good?
Oh, it's delicious.
Good. Okay. So now I want to talk to you about cleaning fish, which we talked briefly about on the boat, but I like to cover it in lemon and salt and give it a good rinse. So I'm going to just coat it in lemon, like so. Grab a little kosher salt, just rub it around like that. Okay, get some paper towel ready because I put the fish right on top of here when I'm done. So now I know that it's nice and clean. And now I have my trusty little grill device because we're going to grill it. Yeah. I bought this at Williams-Sonoma. It's really neat because you can take fluke, which is a delicate fish, and you can put it on a piece of foil on the grill, or you can buy something like this. The only thing that's challenging is it's a little hard to clean, but you can take the fish and you just place it right on top, like so. Okay, and I'm going to lay it right here because now I'm going to make what you love, which is a miso sauce.
Now, will you flip it, or is it just going to...
I won't flip it. We're going to just coat it. Yep, we're going to coat it, and I will not flip it. So with the miso sauce, we are going to... did you ever make this? You just had it.
I had it, and it was delicious.
So Travis had this fish one time at a friend's house. I taught a friend of mine how to make this dish. So this is miso, which is... fermented soybean paste, okay? It's got a salty fermented flavor. I'm gonna put some miso in here. So to counteract the saltiness, we're gonna put some honey in. So I have all of these recipes on my website at stephaniesacks.com, so you can download them after you see the show. And we're gonna use a little tamari, which is a soy sauce. Put that in as well. And then some fresh ginger. So I have my plain, which I don't even peel the ginger.
You know, I was going to ask you if you peeled it or not, but you don't even peel it when you do it.
I don't even peel it, you know? And it's just so much easier. And I just go like this. And what happens is you'll see is that the ginger, see how it forms right there?
Yeah.
Just like so. And then I just take my finger and go like that. So we've got a nice amount of ginger in there. And we'll take this and mix it around. And we'll let you taste it. And you'll see if it matches the flavor. Now what happens is when you cook with this, it will caramelize a bit because of the sugars from the honey. So when you cook this, it will caramelize a bit, and you can see what it looks like. It's a paste, really. You see? You can dip your pinky in, and...
Ooh, it looks good.
I think it needs a little more honey.
Maybe. It tastes delicious.
It's intense. It's very, very salty in the flavor, so it needs a teeny bit more honey. You mix it around, and I think that should probably do it. And it's so simple. You can actually use this miso sauce for chicken, all different types of fish. We're using fluke.
So fast, too.
So fast, right?
Yeah.
No time. So then what you're going to do is all you do is you take it and you put it on top of your fish like so. Okay. That's it.
Wow.
Just simple.
Do you think we should cook it or just eat it now?
Well, you like raw fish, right?
Okay.
I don't eat raw fish, so we're going to go outside and put this on the grill. But before we do that, we're going to make a pesto sauce with a bunch of different herbs. The basil from the garden that we got from Greg, and also we're going to use some cilantro and some parsley that I pulled from my pots out front. Okay, so we're just taking the basil. I actually complemented the basil with some parsley and cilantro from my pots out front.
Great.
Okay, so we'll just toss some of this basil in. We're not going to really need all of it. And we have some fresh garlic from the garden as well that Greg gave us. So you can put the basil leaves in with a little bit of the stem when you're making a pesto. We're going to put some salt in. Now I'm doing this pesto here with, normally when we talk about pesto, we think about basil. But this is basil, cilantro, parsley. Okay, marrying a lot of these leafy green herbs with some garlic, some olive oil and salt. We're not putting cheese in. We're not putting any kind of nuts in, which are customary in pestos. So toss some olive oil in. And let's give it a whirl. And And I can tell here that we need to put a little bit more olive oil.
All right.
Okay, just by the liquidity of it, or the lack thereof, I should say. And that's it. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah, done.
Done. Okay, look how gorgeous that is. Look how gorgeous that is. Just fresh herbs from the garden in Montauk and from my pots out front. And we're gonna take our zucchini. I just sliced the zucchini. Looks pretty good, right? Yeah. And let's put this on. And then all we do with this is we're gonna toss this on the grill with the fish. Can you mix that around?
Certainly can.
Without splashing on your clean shirt?
Well, that's a question.
All right, so now we're gonna jump outside and get on the grill. All right, so here we are, Trav, at the grill. And we've got our fish that we are going to put on. Okay, the local fish that you caught today with the miso glaze. And this handle comes off. You have to pry it a little bit. And you just put the fish on like that. I like to keep the grill at a kind of lower heat. Yeah. And then I always cook with the grill closed. So I turn it to the lowest part of the dials. This is a gas grill.
Okay.
We did the charcoal for a long time, but you know, I'm over charcoal. And then we're just gonna put the zucchini on like so. Would you like to do some of this? So all we're doing is putting the zucchini right on the grill. It won't take very long to cook the zucchini nor the fish because it's quite thin. So once this is all on, we're gonna close the grill up, wait a couple minutes, we'll flip the zucchini, and then we'll be done with the zucchini right when the fish is done. Perfect, so let's close it up. Okay,
Do you want to
now we're gonna wait. So we're almost there. I'm flipping the zucchini. The fish is almost done. And we're gonna sit down and have a meal with some friends. So I wanna thank my special guest, Travis Kelly.
Thank you.
His wife, Amy, has joined us. Thanks for coming on the show, Trav.
Yes.
And Allison and Jim, and this is my darling husband who has taken time out of his schedule to shoot this show. And thanks to all of the amazing people who came on this great show today, shooting in my hometown of Montauk. Stay tuned for the next Chew on This. And take a look at my website at stephaniesacks.com for all the information from this show, tips, recipes, and now I think we should enjoy the feast, guys.
Yes.
All right. Cheers.
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 A toast to health and happiness.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks for tuning in.
It's delicious.